And on the refugee cap, you were saying that there have been other factors that have affected what that goal is now going to be with the limit that has happened since he first announced he wanted it to be 62,500. But can you explain why 2 weeks ago, when I asked if he was committed to raising it to that number by the end of this fiscal year, you said without hesitation, yes. So I don't understand what has changed in the last 2 weeks to change those numbers, given 2 weeks ago there were the surging numbers at the border already happening.
Well, first, I mean, he remains, the goal he set was 125,000 by the end of the next fiscal year. And 63,500, sorry, that was a tongue twister, is meant to be a down payment on that. And he will absolutely be putting out a cap, an increased cap, over the course in advance of May 15th. So he would absolutely like to get to that goal and reach that objective. But we also want to assess, and that's what we're doing now, what is possible given the fact that the Office of Refugee Resettlement has been hollowed out, and given the fact that the system has been in worse shape, and we're just taking the time to do that. That goal was always aspirational. It was always a huge goal, 10 times what the Trump administration had welcomed in terms of refugees, and so we're going to put out a number. He will put out a number in advance of May 15th.
But you say it's aspirational, but clearly you thought it was possible given the Secretary of State told Congress about it, the President committed to it. So why put a number out there if you can't meet it? Because it does give people false hope that you're going to let in 62,500 refugees by the end of September.
Well, I think it's also important for people to understand that the challenge is not the cap. The challenge is the ability to process, the funding, the staffing, and welcome refugees in. The cap is a number that anyone can set. The biggest battle to getting more refugees in during the Trump administration was the fact that there were regional limitations put in on refugees coming in from the Middle East and Africa. We've changed that cap. We've changed that policy, I should say. So the cap, the number was always going to be, we made, as I said in response to Nancy's question, we knew it was an aspirational big goal when we set it. It was going to be 10 times what the Trump administration had set as their goal. And we remain, we are looking ahead to, and we are hopeful about reaching that 125,000 number as we look to next fiscal year. But as we came in and assessed and have had time to assess and have the teams that have had time to assess where the challenges are, we learned more about how hollowed out the systems were. We learned more about the challenges in processing. We learned more about, of course, the impact of what the influx of unaccompanied children would be on these considerations.
But shouldn't you have assessed that before making a commitment?
Well, the president made the announcement in early February, and he felt it was important to send the message to the world, which remains his view, that we are now a country, again, that is going to welcome in refugees from around the world. That continues to be his point of view, continues to be his objective, continues to be his policy. But sometimes it takes a little bit of time to lift up the hood, kick around the tires, and see what the big problems are. And he made that announcement within 2 weeks of taking office. So clearly we've had some